So thank you for coming to the EcoStruxure. Machine learning is already on its way. For the cloud and service provider segment presentation today. As you heard from John Pascal earlier this morning, digital and power are now seamless if inseparable going forward. So what we're going to talk about today is the impact that the digital economy is having on the specific to the co-location provider. So my name is Mark Bittinger. I'm the segment president for Schneider Electric, specific to the cloud and service provider segment. Inside of that entails the web giants, the co-location providers, and the telco service providers. And if I was to simplify my mission twofold, our segment owns direct responsibility for some of the more global customers in this segment, but more importantly, overall top-line responsibility for the segment as a whole. The second fundamental responsibility that I have is in synthesizing those annual plans with a lot of the co-location customers. We have a lot of customer intimacy established. So it's the fiduciary responsibility of my team to take that knowledge base back to the larger organization and help us set a 3-5-year sustainability plan pipeline of innovation when it comes to products and services that make a tangible impact on our customers' business today and well into the future. So, welcome to Singapore Innovation Summit 2018. I'm going to touch a little bit upon some of the trends that are impacting the future, what we have today to embrace those trends today from a technology standpoint and take us into the future. I'm going to be short, however, because at the end I'm going to bring up two subject matter experts. I have Peter Blunt from Pulse Data Center, and I have Jianjar Alibashwa from Lindasarta, and they will come up and join me at the end, do a little Q&A, and then we'll take some participation from the audience. So I'm honored to be here today. I want to leave you with one thing. My team, I'm honored to be here. My team is the customer advocate, and we're committed to your success. Okay? All righty. So at Schneider Electric, we have a core legacy, a core commitment to providing the most innovative critical technologies to focus on delivering the highest level of reliability. We've done this through an award-winning heritage from UPS, most recently the release of Galaxy, GVX, cooling, rack systems, DCIM for sure, and most recently services. So in this new digital era, we see a world that's always on with the highest notion to provide access to digital goods and services. With that being said, our mission then is to empower the digital transformation of our customers by ensuring their critical networks, systems, and processes remain resilient and available at all times. So what I'd like to do is briefly touch upon some of the trends and technologies that are driving this digital economy as we sit here today. First and foremost, we certainly have the cloud. Growing at a clip of 16+% over the next 3 to 4 years. This year it's probably a little closer to 30, right? The fundamental or the building blocks of the cloud remain fundamentally sound. Those three being speed, scale, and cost. However, as we're seeing some of the applications on their heels, Internet of Things, mobility, and high content delivery are putting pressures on that cloud architecture as a standalone architecture, therefore driving more data and applications to the edge. And then finally, machine learning and artificial intelligence. Certainly not one and the same, but as they gain maturity and prevalence, they will create and drive an exorbitant amount of data that will put even more pressure on that cloud architecture as a standalone. So while this is good news for our segment, it demands a different type of topography in the data center world. What should be very obvious and agreeable to all from this slide is that this world is scaling quickly, and it's demanding a more agile, open, transparent, interoperable architecture than ever before. My bold idea that I will leave you with today is this: data is the new oil, and the largest consumer of that oil will be advanced analytics going forward. So for some of you, maybe we're hanging on to today thinking tomorrow is too far out there. At a recent security show in Dubai, the city of Dubai launched a set of robot police. Now, why these are not crime fighters today, they certainly have the ability from a few feet away to bow, to salute, and speak in multiple languages. So while they're not crime fighters, they certainly have the ability to allow communications with a pedestrian or a common person in the street. They have a monitor on their chest where someone can communicate and or report a crime. In the year 2025, Dubai is going to come out with a more high volume, more veracity, more function police force. If you look in the background, you will see the city of Dubai. I think it's by 2030, it's a program specific to Dubai where those skyscrapers, 25% of the supply chain building those skyscrapers will come from 3D printing. I can also make the same statement for Dubai when it comes to residential construction. 25% of their supply chain will come from 3D printing. Okay, so where are we? We're not just limited to robots. What you see here is a very oversimplified scheme of what's happening with the cloud going to the regional edge or data center and then the local edge. While the local edge has no firm definition, certainly by the customer base today and or Schneider, when I'm referring to the local edge, I'm in the 1 to 10 server range. But let's not put a firm boundary around that. What's happening as real-time data is now creating real-time decision-making capability, the applications and the data attached to it are going more closer to the point of consumption, hence driving a larger ecosystem. I'm going to step back and give you an example. In our mineral mines and metals segment, we have a client working with Schneider in this kind of setup that across their mines, ports, and railways are creating 2.4 terabytes of data per minute. 2.4 terabytes of data per minute, with the expectation to save 200 million USD per year over the next 3 years. And they are doing this through preventive analytics and enhanced maintenance planning systems. 2.4 terabytes per minute. So clearly, this infrastructure is allowing this digital economy to come to life. If you exacerbate this diagram and you put more of customers of that segment or more customers of other segments all into the same EcoStruxure, it quickly becomes a burden upon the co-location community to help drive the ingresses and the egresses, the connectivity points of how we drive this complicated architecture going forward. So with that, it creates a lot of opportunities and challenges. Simply put, it's not enough now to have power, cooling, and networks in the right place, right? The speed of deployment is outstripping the labor to go with it. So clearly, we're in the technology business, and the challenge becomes to embed the right level of technology in your infrastructure to allow your labor assets to succeed in this complicated architecture. So, Internet of Things is here today. It's been part of the Schneider solution. As I flip through these 4 pillars, these are not new themes to you, but I think if you look from a design, a construction, and a life cycle, all 3 of those pillars point back towards keeping the boss happy, creating and keeping new customers, right? At the same time, the face of that customer is changing. And it's going to demand a new kind of transparency and capability where the human can no longer keep up. So whether Schneider or the industry has done a poor job of helping us adopt technology, it's no longer an option. I had a discussion recently with a customer, a very large global co-location provider. They're looking to double their footprint in the next 3 to 4 years. I don't think their boss is going to allow them to double their SFC to man those data centers. I would also like to share some intelligence from Schneider, is that we feel that all of the megawatts in the ground may be replaced or duplicated over the next 4 to 5 years. Think about the amount of veracity there, and think about where your, I'll just pick on one, replace aging workforce. I know this is a big concern of many clients of ours, where they're not sure they're getting the labor to manage today's issue, let alone twice the footprint 4 to 5 years from now, with all the complications of those connections that we talked about in a previous slide. So, how do we drive demand and performance at the same time? I would like to talk about the connected data center for a second. Using data from smart devices to make smarter decisions, all connected, we drive or take action where needed, and sometimes, in many cases, we'll be able to prevent problems before they happen in the future, if not today. So, here at Schneider, we deploy in a very tailored instance against 4 end-user vertical markets: buildings, data centers, industry, and infrastructure. Through decades of domain expertise and decades of applied experience, learnings, we tailor for the cloud and service provider segment three vertical domains. The first one being EcoStruxure power. Inside of this envelope, we have the ability to manage the low voltage, medium voltage systems with the highest efficiency from the smallest to the largest hyperscale builds in the world. Secondly, we deploy EcoStruxure IT, making it the IT more flexible and reliable infrastructure ready to bring online where you need it, how you need it. And third but not last, EcoStruxure building. By bringing smart, sustainable systems, we're driving efficiencies of scale, speed to market, and at the same time, mitigating risk. One of our larger co-location companies that's global in nature, we have spent a little over 14 months setting up their library naming convention and the attributes functionality out of what that's going to do. They're now ready to copy and paste on a 95.5 rule anywhere in the world. So by bringing together these deep domains, EcoStruxure building, EcoStruxure IT, EcoStruxure power, and Schneider's understanding, deep understanding of all that from many, many years of application, Schneider is in a very unique place to offer increased value around safety, efficiency, reliability, sustainability, and now more than ever, connectivity. And the speed at which you're going to have to be transparent with your customers going forward and make decisions on the fly, this becomes a real game changer. So we start then to talk about bringing innovation at every level. So inside the EcoStruxure story, as you heard from John Pasqua this morning, John Pascal, we start with the first layer being smart or connected products. These do not have to be Schneider products. We'd like them to be Schneider products, but they don't have to be. We'll hear from our guests in a little bit on that topic, right? But the next thing is we take the data, the collection of those connected products up to that middle layer, which we call edge, where we get deep into monitoring, alarming, and control on site, as we're committed to that facility operator on site. At the same time, we have the ability to push that data up to the cloud, looking at preventative analytics, trending, et cetera, right? Where we go to truly cloud-based services, analytics, and services, if you will. On this next slide, Schneider's commitment to this type of topography, innovation has to be recurring on the fly. So just this year alone, I would ask you to spend time in the booths, get deep with the people that are there representing these technologies. I would just like to highlight 3 recent innovations this year alone. We've come out with EcoStruxure Power Monitor Expert 9.0. And what this is, long story made short, I'll give you one example of an application. The ION 9000 meter is so strong that we have one client that's using it to bill their patients on power consumptions. So it's at that level. EcoStruxure Building Operation 2.0. I need to take a look at this one note. It's the Smart X IP. And what this does is this allows, from a building operations standpoint, this controller now has seamless ability to go across third-party items, wrapping it into a data package so we can then synthesize and take the appropriate action. And then most recently, EcoStruxure Asset Advisor allows cloud-based 7/24 monitoring with data-backed recommendations of action. Please spend some time in the booth, get deep and dirty with that, ask a lot of questions. So to kind of summarize this portion, clearly I think by using the Internet of Things inside the EcoStruxure package, right, we can increase speed of deployment. We can mitigate your capital work in process, and we can certainly mitigate risk along the way. I think it's clear what's going to be needed going forward to make the digital economy happen at the speed it is going to happen. Okay? So with that said, I would like to bring Kinanjar Alibasha from Lindisarta up on the stage. We can have a round of applause, please. And I'd also like to bring Peter Blunt from Pulse Data Centers. So, Peter, I'm going to pick on you first. I would like you to share your bold idea with the audience. At the same time, I'd like you to give them a little bit of history, contextual history as to who is Pulse, why Pulse. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. So firstly, we didn't set out just to build another data center. There's plenty of people out there that build very, very good data centers. Instead, what we did was we set out to build a boom town in our city. We set out to create a whole new market, a whole new niche in the co-location market. And in doing that, we're creating not only a data center, but also creating an entire technology park which is going to grow alongside our city as our city develops and as our city continues to capitalise on the growth that we're seeing at the moment, particularly through IoT. And so Toowoomba is a regional town, very strong agricultural presence, also a lot of advanced manufacturing happening there. So we see it as being very much at the edge of the growth that everyone's seeing in IoT. And we saw this as a great opportunity to capitalise on that growth and build something unique in our area, which means that our area is going to continue to prosper and that our area will retain all of that skill and capability and expertise that we develop in the coming years, particularly around IoT.
Okay. Your bold statement?
My bold
Repeat
statement.
it one more time.
Yep. So my bold statement is that we're creating a digital boom town as we carve out a new market in the co-location space.
Digital boom town. Thank you. Kinanjar.
Okay, thank you. The bold idea first. Yeah. So the bold idea of us is to become a preferred, actually, the solution company in digital transformation by providing the service excellence, of course, with the world-class standard, actually. So why actually we use that one as our bold idea? Because actually Lintas Arta is a B2B company. Our business is B2B. And then we always give or provide the solution for our customer, which is the enterprise and the government as well. So we are having the spirit to empower our enterprise for building their future. So in this case, digitalization and automation is the most important part. Then if you look at the history, Lintas Arta has already started the business since 1988. But we originally from network provider, so we provide the connectivity solution for our customer. It's complete solution, the terrestrial one, the satellite as well. And coming here about 2010, 2011, we start also coming into the IT services business, because we look at the company, the customer is not only need the telecommunication. Coming in digital era, they need also kind of the IT service solution. We are talking about the IT solution. It's starting from the infrastructure, which is the data center, and then the cloud as an infrastructure as a service, and then platform, as well as the software as a service as well. So combining all of those things, we have now the complete solution actually for providing the customer to develop their digital environment and automation by providing the connectivity as well as the IT services.
Okay.
So IT services for the horizontal solution, the vertical solution also in some industry, we are also providing at this moment. So related into this context, data center, we have to provide, of course, the very, what we call it, a reliable data center. Otherwise, there's nobody will use it. And this is the things that we are going to deliver to the customer. Thank you.
So I'm going to stay with you. Your bold statement, be the preferred solution provider in the digital transformation.
Correct.
You went on to make another statement, to empower your enterprise customer.
Yep.
So, first question, and I understand the need for reliability, but what is your company doing to differentiate yourself in your competitive space?
Sure. So, talking about the data center, the differentiation that we create actually in this one is, first, as I mentioned earlier, we have a complete solution actually. So we bundled everything. I mean, whatever need by the customer, actually we can be a one-stop solution there for them. So starting from the data center itself, maybe the colo, And then even higher level for the cloud solution as well, we can provide. But also, and also we can bundle with the connectivity. Connectivity from our data center is already multi-path and very reliable. And this is one. I mean, the complete solution that we can provide to the customer. And the second one is also, of course, to be reliable, then we have to certify it. So there is somebody, some party that assess us, and prove us that, okay, we are proven in time of the delivering the service of the data center, which is we are using the uptime. In this case, we got already certified for not only the design, because commonly in Indonesia now, most of the data center is only design. They got certified from uptime. But us, we do also the, and then we got also the certified for the construction facility. So that construction facility is the real one. Eh? It was being tested also by them during the construction. They test all the things just to prove there is no single point of failure and so on. So that can be used also for the customer. Customer have to be confident also that, oh, okay, this is already being tested, not only in the paper as a design, but also in the construction, the real one. The third one, we also, part of the data center, we built the high density data center. What is density? High density, because usually we design the data center is, for the common one, is maybe 5 or 6 kilowatt per rack or something like that one. But with the high density one, we can have also even much bigger, two times more than the capacity of the regular one. And the impact of this is not only actually providing the power to the rack, but also the cooling system will be impacted and other thing as well. So that some of the customer is really need the high density data center in this case, then we can provide. Okay. So, and to control all of the things, we also using this already the EcoStruxure of the Schneider. Then for all the system, the power system, the cooling system, fire, and also the building management, we are using the EcoStruxure at this moment. Then we can see all the status and also the progress of this one. So more or less, this is the differentiation.
Okay. We'll come back to that in a second. Digital boomtown. What's your differentiator? Everyone's dying to be in a digital boomtown.
Oh, absolutely, but Mark, I'll steal your words from earlier, that when you look at what drives customers, it's about speed, scale, and cost. And so what we've been able to do is, firstly, when you talk about speed, we delivered a 2.5 megawatt data center in 10 months, from beginning to fully certified by Uptime Institute, design and build, and customers rolling in 10 months' time. In terms of cost, the big advantage to building in a regional location is the cost of land. Now, you look in the Australian market, our competitors are still building data centres in the main cities, which, let's face it, they were selected 200 years ago because they were a good place to land a wooden boat at the time. Didn't really necessarily make them the best place to build a data centre. So by stepping back from those capital city locations, we've got a greatly reduced cost of land. And what that means for us is that, firstly, our capital cost that we've tied up is much lower, but also, too, we've got a large tract of land which allows us to scale. And that's a big differentiator for our clients. So utilising that land, we've got that lower cost, and we've got the scalability that our clients crave, and that a lot of our competitors simply can't provide because they've built in city locations that are landlocked with very limited resources.
So, question for you. Janandara made a comment about bundling as being a competitive advantage. How is Pulse Data Centers coping with the margin pressures in this bundling mentality that we're driving towards, and how are you using Internet of Things technology to help you from a cost structure standpoint?
For us, we have probably a different approach. We've taken a more strictly co-location approach. And when you talk about how do we deal with the margin squeeze, well, I think that gets back to my point of having much lower capital costs in terms of what we're delivering, and that's where we achieve our advantage in that. Also, too, what it means for us, and look, it's just simply a different model, is that we have a lot of partners who have established themselves in our facility, providing the telco services, providing the cloud services, and that gives us a lot of variety. It gives us a lot of carrier neutrality and service provider neutrality, which are just options that our clients crave. So that's the model that we've adopted.
Okay.
Moving when you're talking about how we're utilising IoT. So for us, because our data centre is the foundation stone of an entire technology precinct, it was really important to us that we led the way with adoption of IoT and using it to maximise our efficiency and our capabilities within the data centre, so that we could use that to demonstrate to other clients in the technology park that this is the gold standard on how you do this.
Okay.
And so we've managed to do that, and we believe very, very successfully. We've adopted the Schneider EcoStruxure product throughout our facility. Our facility is entirely operated through that, from our building management systems, our DSIM, our customer portals, our security systems are all managed within the one platform. And for us, that's been absolutely fantastic in terms of delivering a single point of truth, the old terms, single point, a single pane of glass that you can monitor the facility. And again, you're getting back to the question about cost. Minimising our staffing costs is also really important to us in keeping that in that competitiveness. And by having the fully integrated system that we have there with the EcoStruxure, it enables us to minimise the staffing costs as well. And that's really important when you're running a 24/7 operation.
So, going to bounce off of Peter, come back to Eugene and Jar. How did Linda Sarda, and I appreciate being built on the EcoStruxure platform, but I'm sure there were some surprises along the way as you were adopting, if not creating, technology specific to your business needs. Can you talk to us about some of your surprises and what you did to overcome them?
Kind of a surprise. Yeah. So actually, the last data center that we built, actually, the one that I mentioned before on the, we have the design also the high density data center. Actually, the requirement is come a little bit late. After we did all the things, the design and so on, with the standard data center for the enterprise. Then suddenly there are some requirement to have also the high density, and then we have to revisit all the things. Luckily, with the help also support also from Schneider at that time, then we can quickly also redesign again. Luckily, this is not in the stage of the construction already, still on the planning. And then after that, we quickly, because the RFS or ready for service time is not being able to be extended, then we have to work night and day to speed up all the things. Luckily, with all the support, everybody, then we can finish this one, and then deployment, and we can finish on time as well. So this is the one that is surprising us. And now with help of the EcoStruxuring, easier for us also to control all the things, the effectiveness, and the PUE also we can monitor there, and really helping us. And then we are running the business very well now. Last year, it's grown more than 100%. It's nice. Hopefully, it will be still increase for the near future. That's it.
So your ability to learn, apply, learn with Schneider is probably what's next for you.
Yeah.
Peter, the journey. What's next? What are your expectations from Schneider?
So for us, what's next is, as I said at the start, this is, I suppose, what's next is the boomtown. We've got to make that happen. And the boomtown is a lot more than just what we're doing. It's about what all of our participants in the technology park are doing, whether that be participants that are there doing advanced manufacturing or other types of industry, or whether it be customers in the data center itself, or whether it be our future expansion of the data center, and they can be, whether that be colo or that be very large, hyperscale standalone facilities. But importantly, what we're looking for out of all of that with Schneider is to keep that uniformity in our systems as we grow. We've got some amazing opportunities that are happening at the moment in our space in terms of the circular economy type concepts, etc., where we're looking to create a technology park where a lot of the participants in that technology park work together in order to utilise each other's resources. Perhaps we redistribute waste, etc., where one organisation's waste becomes another organisation's input. And when you stand back and think, well, that's a great idea, but how do you make it work? Really, it requires some form of uniform integration amongst all these participants. Okay. And that's where one of the key things out of we seek to get out of Schneider is that Schneider has such a broad range of products which is applicable across so many different industry verticals that we know that when our clients participate in this technology precinct, that if they're utilising these technologies, we'll be able to work together far more efficiently. And that's what our goal is.
Thank you. Before we go to the audience for a quick question or two, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, actually for the data center, the basic requirement from the customer is always high availability, and then we just need to prove it. And then, but there is a new, actually recently coming also in the RFP of the customer is not only about that one is a basic one, but they also need to put the migration, the migration of the data. Yep. Because customer, most of them is not something that is start from the scratch and then they start the database from the zero in our data center, but they have already somewhere, either in their data center or in other data center that they'd like to move into our data center, let's say. So the services on migrating the data also from the old data center into us, that one is also now becoming part of the one that is important, required by also the customer, and us is also able to do that one as well. So that we welcome also for everybody who'd like to come to our data center, and then all the services, including the migration, also we are going to be taking care of this one. Thank you.
Clear. Are there any questions or comments from anybody in the audience?
It's to hear the questions.
Oh, let's see if there's a question first. Any questions, comments?
For the questions, you can hear. There's a microphone. It's on channel 1. Normally it's okay.
I don't see any, so what I'd like to do then is quickly summarize. I think it's clear and obvious that the digital economy is being scaled at lightning speed, and I think clearly using the Internet of Things and a lot of technologies behind it is fuel for that innovation. Hopefully, you bore witness today, certainly through my two colleagues, about a deep appreciation for Schneider to deliver value around safety, reliability, efficiency, sustainability, and I think the key is connectivity more than ever going forward. And third and finally, your customers' bold ideas rely on your infrastructure. So with that being said, thank you very much. Thank you both very much. And I would implore you in this room to follow up any dialogue with any of the experts in the hubs. That's where the real smart people are. Thanks very much for your time.